and today we're going to change the oil and install a couple of really cool little bolt-on parts on our 2014 Honda CBR1000RR STG Road Racing World Project bike. Oil change, you know, I got a couple of track days on this thing. It's time to change the oil on, right? Time to do some maintenance. So we're going to cover all these things during the oil change. First thing we're going to do is install a K&N Oil Filter. I love this thing. It's got that 17mm nut right on the top. It's pre-drilled for safety wire. Not only is it a really high quality filter, but it's pre-drilled for the safety wire, and that nut makes getting this thing on and off super easy. One of my favorite parts. It's the only oil filter that I've really used for about the last, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. Motul 300V, I like the oil, it's good stuff. I'm going to use that. PSR. These guys have come out with their own line of bolt-on parts. They come up with a couple of unique things. This is the oil fill cap, right? They're available in different colors. It's machined out of aluminum. They're pre-drilled for safety wire. They come with a clip, a safety wire, and a little bracket to bolt it to one of the engine covers. Kind of a trick little piece, sell tons of them. You know what, I thought, why not put it on the Honda and make my life a little bit easier too. They have also come out with, this one's pretty cool as well, a magnetic drain plug that is also pre-drilled for safety wire. Comes with the quick release clip and a little bracket so you're able to bolt this to one of the oil pan bolt holes. Super cool little parts. They're really inexpensive when you really get down to it. And we need to have this bike wired up for the next track day. We're going down to Daytona. We've got to have the oil filter wired. We've got to have the drain plug wired. And of course the oil fill cap. So we're going to be able to handle all that without ever pulling out a drill, which is going to be kind of neat. And these cool parts are going to look good on the bike as well. To change the oil, what do we need to do? The first thing we're going to do is, we've already done it, we're going to warm the engine. We want to get this thing up to temperature. That makes the oil flow out a whole lot easier. When you drain it out, you want to make sure that you get everything out of there. Okay, so you want to let it drip for a little bit. You need to warm the engine to do that. So we've already covered that part. We need to get the lower off, we need to get it up in the air, we're going to get the drain plug out, oil filter off, oil cap off, and let it drain. Okay, we let it drain for quite a while. We got everything out of it. We've already reinstalled our drain plug. We put that really cool PSR drain plug in there. It's already safety wire. It's magnetic, right? We did an install too. Look for the video installing the PSR oil fill cap. Now the oil filter. Like I said, we're using the K&N wrench-on filter. It's one of my favorite parts. Before I put this on, I'm going to fill it with oil. It's going to help reduce oil starvation when we start the bike back up. First thing I'm going to do is just make sure that we've got the gasket sealing surface cleaned up relatively well. You do want a little lube on the seal. You see K&N already provides that. They've got this filter actually sealed from the factory. Remove the seal. We're going to go ahead and fill this up with Motul 300V. Give it just a minute for the air to bleed out. You'll lose a little bit of oil while you're threading this on, and that's okay, not a big deal. But it still has a dramatic impact on oil starvation when you have the filter pre-filled. Just one more time. And we'll be ready to go. You see, I didn't really lose a whole bunch, so that's not too bad. Get that snugged up. Clean everything off. All the excess oil. grab some safety wire, we're gonna wire that oil filter up. So we are ready to go to the track. I'm actually just going to use the same bracket. Okay, we've got the oil filter on, we've got it tight, it's time to safety wire in place now. What we're going to do that is we're actually just going to use the same little bracket that was included with that PSR drain plug. Move it through like so. Just kind of get it up here and see how far we need to twist. Especially when you're using that wrench-on filter, okay? I mean, it's the right thing to do this. It's the intelligent thing to do. But honestly, it's a formality because the truth is, with this wrench-on filter, it is going to be tight, okay? As long as you actually snug it up with the wrench. So, you know, what I think with the safety wire is it's almost more of a double check, you know, with this type of filter than it is anything else, okay? Because the truth is, if you've taken the time to tighten it up, you're going to be good to go. Like that. That bad boy wired up in place. And now we're going to be ready to fill the oil. What we're going to do is we're going to put a couple of quarts, just a little over 2 quarts in this thing to begin with, right? We want to run it, warm it, let it settle, recheck, and refill the oil level. We don't want to overfill this. Let's go ahead and remove our oil fill cap. I'm going to grab a funnel. You want to make sure your funnel is clean. You got dirt in your funnel? You'll have dirt in your motor after you dump the oil in it, because the oil will literally pick up all the dirt in the funnel and drag it right down into the engine. This is a 4-liter container. So we'll just kind of watch the level in the container here as we go. Make sure I don't go too far. Just a little over 2. Okay. Let that settle. We'll warm the motor, and then we'll recheck our oil level and get it dialed in so it's just right. This is a dipstick motor. Okay, it doesn't have a sight glass, so we're going to have to check it using the dipstick. And remember, the dipstick also needs to be safety wired, just like the drain plug, the filter, and the filler cap. To do this, we're going to drill a very small hole in this cover, the Woodcraft cover protector, and then of course a small hole in the actual dipstick itself. For now, we're going to start the bike and warm the engine, so we've got to check our level. Okay, oil level is set, right? Well, now we need to drill a hole in the dipstick, and we're going to drill a small hole in our clutch cover protector so we can safety wire the dipstick. That's plastic, so this is going to drill pretty easy. Don't need to make a huge hole. Just big enough for the safety wire to pass through. We're going to try and put this in the most inconspicuous place possible here. This will drill fairly easy with aluminum. wire this. Obviously, let's make sure we've got that good and tight. I'm going to try and also pull it over in this direction, right? So it's going to put a little pressure on it so it can't really work itself loose. So we're going to pull a piece of safety wire, pliers, like so. You could also use a quick release clip on this if you wanted to. But we'll just run with just straight safety wire for right now. Line it up, need to be about down here. So we'll come loose. That out of the way like so. Obviously, whenever you're doing this, don't leave pieces of safety wire on the table where they can get into a tire when you're rolling it off the table. So make sure that stuff finds its way to the trash. Okay. Now, I'm just going to grab some brake cleaner. I'll make sure everything's cleaned up real nice. Close this off. Before we put the lower fairing on, we're going to run this bike for a little bit, okay? We are about to go to Daytona and ride this thing on the high banks and hopefully hit some sweet speeds. God, I gotta believe we're going to be able to get 170, 180, I don't know, it should be pretty fast, probably faster than I've ever been on a motorcycle. So I want to make sure that everything I just did turned out just right. So, to recap, I'm going to go ahead and run the bike on the stand for a little bit, double check everything, make sure I don't have any leaks, no runs, no grips, no errors. When I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and reinstall the lower fairing. We covered a lot of different things here, okay? How to change the oil. We showed you some of the stuff that we like to do, the little trick with filling up the oil filter, some safety wire stuff. These are all important things, especially if you like to ride your motorcycle on a racetrack like I do. I'm Brian Van. This is our 2014 Honda CBR1000RR STG Road Racing World.